Well, well, well. Welcome to another Dead by Daylight review. Today, we're looking for one bomb A creation. Just one. That's what we're searching for today. It's just one. You pop in, besides the one that I have to go over that I've kind of put behind a couple of days. There's some things. Now, Mr. Mooks, all of these items that you posting could have easily been combined into one post. It makes no sense for you to post all of these and bring them up. Now, I know these are some from the past, obviously. 121, 100, 169, 23, etc., etc. And he probably brought all of these up from the past and then added another one in. Excuse me. Ooh. And he probably brought all of these up for the and then added an additional item in to try to make a set. Which, I mean, as you can see, he's got hundreds of views all here and then like 23 views here. And a couple of replies and comments on each and every one of these. So, I do understand why they're brought up like this. But you have one thing that you made here, one thing you made here, one thing you made here. All of these in October. And then one here that you made brand new. You definitely should have combined all of these together when you brought them back and then added in another concept right here. I mean, I understand the importance of keeping the old comments and the old posts and all of that, but look what you're doing to the recent form. You got 100+ reviews on all of these, so they've worked their way through. They've been seen from or by a different amount of people, etc., etc. There really isn't any point in keeping the old comments and all of that from a year ago, because you got over 100 views and a select few comments. Why not combine all of this into one post and then bring it current? So that you're not just spamming the whole forum with back-to-back posts. Generally, what's going on, Galanonim? Generally, I would skip every single one of these, but since they are brought up from the past, I will view one of these, and that's being the new one. The rest of these, I'm not going to go through and view. You're welcome yourself to go through and pull these to see what all of these are. I mean, I've seen all of these, obviously. They were back in October, so I've seen all of these at one point in time. So, I'm not going to essentially repeat myself. Especially now at this point, because Dead by Daylight's broken. Or, excuse me, updated. It just went through another update. And they changed everything. Walkie Talkies, if this allows survivor communication, it's a bad idea. I'm going to go ahead and throw that out there. Because all it's going to take is a troll, which, well, most of Gen Z are trolls and spend most of their time online just yelling at people because they don't have any type of self-esteem or any type of backbone or anything like that. They just want to sit there and talk crap, and then when you say something back to them, they immediately flip out, say that they're a minor and that all of this other stuff, and then they want to immediately leave when you say anything to them. Despite the direct implication in this item will not enable voice chat for survivors in game. Thank you. I appreciate that. Because if somebody brings any type of thing that enables voice chat, that would be absolutely positively annoying to have essentially a walkie-talkie. Somebody's gonna do something stupid, get hooked, or be playing music, or have kids in the background, or dogs, or something else, and I really don't want to deal with that. Back when voice chat was a toss-up and people were actually implementing it into games and things like that, it was hell on earth. A lot of smack talking, a huge amount of racism, and things like that. The player base can't be trusted with voice chat. And since Dead by Daylight is a toxic community, you would end up banning about 75% of the community. It would be a new experience to be flamed during the match. Definitely. What I wish they'd do is go somewhere around the Rocket League way and just enable quick chat that you can use like once every 30 seconds in Dead by Daylight. Because it's going to be annoying if it's enabled anything less than, 30 seconds. People are just going to run around spamming. Either way, walkie talkies. This item comes from two different use cases, as it's an item that always comes as a duo. I wonder if it's going to have to do with ore reading then. Either brought into the game or found in a chest, the survivor has initially two walkie-talkies in their hands. Now, there's already an inherent problem there. The fact that you made it findable in a chest. Nobody is going to want to use a pseudo walkie-talkie that isn't one of the game's, main functions. They're not going to want to really use that often. And the fact that you can find it in chests kind of makes it a pain in the butt, especially because, well, that's another item that's in the pool when you're trying to find med kits and actually useful items. So walkie-talkies as an add-on that you can equip yourself is different. But an walkie-talkie implemented into the game as like a regular item is a pain in the butt. Let's see. The survivor has initially two walkie-talkies in their hands. Okay. So that's two items. I figure that package went to a neighbor. Give me one moment. Neighbor got a package. I apologize. One of the male people, or another person, I don't know, random person, male person, package holder, whatever, somebody stopped by saying that we received a package that was scanned in the mail on Saturday. And he was asking if we received it. He was very adamant about, yeah, package was scanned in on this day. Package was scanned in on this day. Things like that. I'm like, one, if you don't receive your particular package, call whoever sent said package for another delivery. I don't care if it's a check for $1 million, or I don't care if you have 5 minutes to sign this paper as it gets into the mail, or you'll die or something like that. There's no point in coming all the way to another neighbor's house to pick up said package. If it's time sensitive, maybe you should have filled out whatever paperwork you needed to fill out earlier. So if there is a mix up in the mail or something like that, it's can be sorted. That's why they give you time limits for things that happen. If you procrastinate to the last minute and things don't turn out the way you want them to turn out, don't start panicking and driving to other people's houses and things like that, especially demanding and stating that, oh, I know my mail's here and all this other stuff. Because you don't. But it's just kind of weird how things end up turning out nowadays. And he was very adamant. Well, could you go check? Could you go check and make sure you didn't get it and misplace it or something? Or did you call your wife or any of that? I really need this package. Like, if you really needed the package, which he said signed in and arrived Saturday and it's Tuesday, why weren't you alerted and calling ever around Saturday for the particular thing? You know what I'm saying? Now watch. All this is gonna end up being put on like YouTube or something. I hid a package at a neighbor's house, and I'm gonna expose them and do some sort of racist ass video saying that they're stealing packages and all of this other stuff. Yeah, these people are bad, and then they're gonna post it on YouTube, and it's gonna be like, bro, what do you mean? Like, you shoved the package in a tree or some shit at our house, and now you're complaining about not being able to find the package and trying to set us up or some bullshit. Like, when it comes to situations like that, you should contact the mail people. If the mail people are adamant about things being delivered and all of that, and they say that, no, we delivered it, we're 100% sure, and you say, hey, I didn't get my package, you contact the mail, you contact the company that sent the shit, and you say, hey, I didn't get my product, send me another one. Most companies are multi-million, billion, some are trillion-dollar companies. They don't care to send you another one. And if it's important paperwork, some will even fax the paperwork over to you so you can get it in time, or they'll give you an extension because you never received said package. But it's just interesting how somebody has the audacity to wait, because you had Saturday, or Saturday evening, or afternoon and evening, Sunday, Monday, and you wait till the fourth day on Tuesday in the afternoon. It's 2 p.m. now. 4 days to say, hey, this package ain't coming in. I keep up with all of my packages and mails and all of that. If it's like super, super important, I keep up with it for the most part. You know, the things that I'm expecting to come in, I make sure I keep track and I know when it's coming in. Now, I might not always, go and get said packages, but I at least know that, hey, the package is supposed to come today. And if they don't go today and they end up at a neighbor's house or something like that, I walk my happy ass outside and I look around looking for said packages. Same day, sometimes within the hour, depending on when I wake up and when the package is delivered. If I'm awake, it's generally within the hour. So most times I can just go get the package. If the neighbors are outside, I say, hey, I think you guys got my package. If they're not outside, I just walk up, grab the shit, and then walk away. If anybody comes out and says, hey, what are you doing? I say, hey, this is my package. They delivered it to the wrong address. They go, okay. And we go about our business. This dude, I have no idea who he is. I've never met him in my life. I've never talked to him in my life. He might be the new mailman, because we did just get one, which might be the mail lady's son or something like that, delivering for her. All I know is he makes a lot of mistakes, and we ended up missing packages. So I'm not surprised that other packages are placed in other areas. But everybody knows the rule when it comes to mail. If you don't get your shit, call around to the businesses, the post office, things like that. If they're adamant about things getting delivered, maybe take a perusal, down the street or something like that. Maybe go and ask a neighbor or two. Well, if you're on if you're on good terms, maybe go ask a neighbor or two to say, "Hey, did you get my packages?" And then request another one or a refund. But don't be like a fool like that guy and drive all the way down for a package that he misdelivered. I wouldn't even went out of my way if I was a mail person or a package holder or something like that. 4 days after a package has disappeared looking for something. That is insane. But I digress. Let's hop back into this review. But long story short, I'm saying, leave me alone. Your package, whether or not it came to our house, neighbor's house, or anybody else's house in this particular neighborhood, leave us alone. We do not care. We generally, in this neighborhood, will get your package to you within the week. You don't need to go zooming around looking for things like that. Generally decent neighborhood within the week when we have time, when we're off work, things like that. You'll get your package within the week. You can report it to the company if you're not worried about it. If it's like, some Amazon delivery or something like that, report it to Amazon. They'll send you another one. Boom, solved. If it's important documentation, generally neighbors will just give it to you within the week. And or you can just call whoever the heck it is and say, hey, can you send me another one? And if it's something that is pseudo important to the particular person but negligible in nature, keep in mind what I said. Important to the person but negligible in nature. Don't worry about it. Like if your niece sent you a birthday card or something like that. Don't worry about it. Worst case scenario, you lost like 20 bucks in a card. If you're that hard pressed for money, you're doing something wrong with your life. As I regress. But walkie talkie wise. When picking up another item, both get put on the ground as a pair. But if a survivor only drops the item, only one walkie talkie will be dropped, the other remains in their hands. So, it's going to be interesting, to say the least, having a grouping pair of items that both can be dropped down as a pair, both can be picked up as a pair, and then one has to be dropped after picking one up. Then it's going to be interesting to actually get another survivor to take the walkie talkie instead of having it be just a passive that exists in the system. But let me see the functionality, as it says, of this particular walkie talkie before I suggest any system designs or anything like that. First function. If two survivors hold each one walkie talkie of a set in their hands, they see each other's auras for a limited range, say 36 meters. When pressing the item use button, however, you reveal any aura that can be revealed within your range of X meter as well as your own aura if outside of the initial range. This will cost charges through on both set of walkie talkies. They share charges. Don't make sense, but okay. Second function. If a survivor holds one walkie talkie in their hands while the second one is laying on the ground, the walkie talkie on the ground will emit the same sounds the survivor is doing while pressing the item use button. Grunts of pain, breathing, footsteps. Okay. Now, one, the first function is essentially a key and a map combined together. So your first function is completely useless and already exists in the game. Well, I didn't say completely useless. It's a failure to implement a new idea into the game. You're just taking two things, smacking them together. The beacon function literally is a stolen concept from the scarecrow that literally I just talked about, I want to say yesterday. You literally looked at that scarecrow idea, you read it, you said, oh, that's a good idea. And then you took two existing things, slammed them together, and took the end of that scarecrow idea from a previous concept and threw that on the end. You're a scumbag like Lulu Mooks. That's all I gotta say. What's Mooks backwards? Scoom, like scum. You're scoom, Mercs. Exactly like Lulu is what you are. You take an idea that somebody has, and you're like, oh, well, this is a nice idea. I don't agree with the implementations of it being a scarecrow or anything like that, but I can spin this idea off and kind of sort of make it my own and just change what the item does. And then I'm going to add some other BS to it. And hopefully people won't notice. Well, trust me, friend, I notice. And it is just blatant stealing from a recent concept. And for whatever reason, people are doing this a lot recently. Stop taking other people's ideas that they literally just posted fresh. Because what happens if somebody looks at this particular concept and they say, well, the first function is kind of meh, but the second function, and people are like, oh, yeah, that's a good function. Yeah, that's a good idea. That's a good implementation. Then you're going to be getting credit for somebody else's work. And that's not too savvy now, is it? Add-ons, all of this stuff really doesn't matter. Apparently, he has other killers and all of that. You were the one that did the Ice Queen, which I really like. The Ice Queen. I made a alternative review and everything like that over it. Literally gave it its own video. I'm pretty sure the Ice Queen was the one of the very first ones that I've actually done. So why have you fallen so far to where you don't have your own, things that popped up? Like, why are we stealing ideas from people? Another thing, why are we trying to implement all of these different items into the game? You realize there's a limited number of chests in the game. If this item pack that you want to incorporate gets included into the game and it doesn't have any inherent use to it that's actually, pushes the game forward in any, way, then people are going to be pissed when they pull out your item, which your items are going to pop out a lot more than the regular items. So to do an item rework, you're going to be looking at a lot of pressure being put upon you to change that entire functionality of the system up. So you're going to have to step up your game. This is the Ice Queen that I'm thinking of. Spoiler warning. If leaks are to be believed, it's possible that ore reading may be offloaded into a mirror item, if said mirror item isn't just part of a tome. Oh, you're talking about for the ring and all of that. It's tome related. Though I certainly think that it could use the object instead of a walkie-talkie, would give it more supernatural feel as well. Oh yeah, I didn't really think about that. Walkie-talkies were just the best pickup for the function that I thought of, but a set of pocket mirrors in that style would be a very cool alternative. A mirror would be a lot better, and you wouldn't have to two-way something with a particular mirror. So let's go back to the base functionality. Instead of incorporating this in an item that you have to give to another person, like for example, the Obsession Ring add-on for the items allows you to see the Obsession's aura. They don't have to do anything in particular at all. They just have their aura read by you. They don't even know that your aura is being read by them. So you can implement it like that, or two, you can have your one item work with all survivors by just giving it its own unique small like overlay change. All you gotta do is add like a small walkie-talkie symbol right next to survivor portrait so everybody knows, hey, we got walkie-talkies. Or at least walkie-talkies active and somebody's using a walkie-talkie in the game. Or you don't have to let them know at all. And just have one walkie-talkie that pseudo activates on everybody. Now, if behavior decides to add in mirrors, and this is just a copy and paste of those, I still stick with what I say. The first function wouldn't be a good idea because you're taking items that really aren't used as often anymore because of your changes, maps and keys, and you're essentially saying we're throwing them bitches away. So unless you're going to get rid of maps and keys as a general and make this one mirror item be both of those combined and be able to open hatch and do all the other things that the other items do with associated add-ons, I definitely wouldn't take that route of adding in an item that does the first function. One, passively. Each one holding the item, they can see each other's auras when they're within, let's say, 32 meters of one another, killer's tear radius. So they can always see each other when they're close. Now, pressing the item use button, you may reveal any aura that can be revealed within your range of X meters, like a baby clairvoyance. Any auras. Baby clairvoyancing everything around. Again, if behavior, this is a copy and post from behavior, you have clairvoyance, which requires a totem pop in order to use, which isn't that high of a cost. Don't get rid of clairvoyance value and have something that has aura read of anything that can be revealed. Two, if it's in a specific range when you're using this, you're going to see every single aura that can be revealed. Some useful, like totems and things like that. Others ain't, like windows and pallets and a whole bunch of other crap, unless you know you're about to get in the chase and you're looking for a way out. But there's perks. Windows of Opportunity, the totem finding perk, which I think is called like Dark Sense or something. No, I think Dark Sense is the killer finding perk. Or the equipment and all of that. Whatever it's called. You got the totem finding perk. You got clairvoyance, and you have a lot of other aura reading things. Again, you really could run the obsession ring to highlight the obsession if you want that read for the entire match, or you can run a key, which will let you know where the survivors are when you channel, or you can just run empathy and get the core information that you actually need, who's being chased and where they're going and where they're at. As well as you can see, you know, who's injured, who needs a heal. You can go in, consolidate heals, and go for a hook save if the killer's camping or anything like that. It allows you to formulate a plan. Let's see. As well as your own aura if outside of the initial range. If you're outside of the initial range, apparently you can see your own aura. This cost charges through both sets of walkie-talkies because they both sell charges. I mean, that again don't make sense because now instead of just balancing each individual walkie-talkie and giving the user a set amount of seconds, now you have a shared battery. And if it's a shared battery, that means any perks that both survivors equip should work on this particular base walkie-talkie. So if both people are running Streetwise, that should be what? Streetwise is what? 25%, 33%, whichever one it is. Stackable. So you'll have a minimum of a 50% item efficiency. If you unbuilt the last, that's 6 additional charges on the particular walkie-talkies, so you can just keep using them again and again and again and again. And you can keep stacking up item perks and things like that. So if you are going to run something like this, one, you need to have a primary walkie-talkie and a secondary walkie-talkie. And design some sort of system to where you can't exploit the crap out of it and have infinite walkie-talkie. Two, the time that the walkie-talkie activates, the channeling, and all of that other stuff needs to be listed in further detail. Distance, channeling time, channelability, usefulness, etc., etc. This needs to be expanded out a heck of a lot more to explain everything fully to be fully implemented. Second function, if a survivor holds one walkie-talkie in the hands while the other's on the ground, it emits noises, a beacon. This is one of the ways that you could implement a particular beacon. But I mean, I have to say, probably the Scarecrow has a better implementation of just set it and forget it, as opposed to just having a walkie-talkie that's essentially a beacon. You walk over to a particular area, you drop, say, walkie-talkie in a corner or something. You work on a generator. When the killer comes over, you run around making loud sounds of running and everything else. Especially if it's like a spirit or something, or somebody who's a stealth killer. They walk over to the walkie-talkie and they go, oh, because you say nothing here about the killer being able to destroy a walkie-talkie or anything like that. So they walk over to this area and all they hear is grunts of pain, breathing sound, footsteps, chest opening sounds, Jen working on sounds, etc., etc. Which the Jen working sounds is going to be the obvious thing you want to pull there. Well, Jen and sometimes injury, if you want to set up the old bait and switch. But the Jen sound is loud as they are, and that's what the killer's going to be listening for. You can just put a walkie-talkie by a Jen, start working on it. Killer's going to walk over, say SOB, and then walk back out, and you just wasted that killer's time. And the first time is this getting implemented, if you find a killer that's new to the game and doesn't understand, they just know that when that sound's being heard, the Jin's being touched. It could really stall a killer. And that's not what the distractions in Dead by Daylight are for. Especially because by implementing this new update, they're trying to make the game a lot faster. They're trying to keep it a continuous motion as opposed to the slow kind of play that Dead by Daylight incorporates. And I know some of you are mad because I said Dead by Daylight is slow, but it would be. I have to check the Ice Queen. I wanted to make a concept for Ice Killer, but I don't want to end up creating similar thing to his. Haha, I can't believe it. I wanted to create very similar powers. Oh no. Now keep in mind, that was back when I was new to the whole thing. So, if I went back and redid the Ice Queen review and all of that, I probably wouldn't agree with half of the things I said back then. I have a more, narrowed down list of things that I'm looking for. But I did like it. it wasn't bad. Which I mean, after I get done with this, I guess we could just check on back to the Ice Queen concept to see if it's still good or if it's lost some of its luster. Long story short on Walkie Talkies, make it one, only have one function. Get rid of the war reading and all of that stuff, especially if this is just a mini spoiler of a new item that may be coming out. Then there's no point to even put this particular stuff in here. You're literally the guy that's just running around spoiling the end of the Marvels movie. You know, the endgame spoilers when they were around, and people thought that that was hilarious, spoiling it. This is what you're doing here. So don't incorporate actual spoilers into the game. 2, second function wise, this is stolen from somebody. So this entire concept of the Walkie Talkies could just be straight up deleted, and we can just move on with our lives. Let's see. Discussions. Nah, this ain't it. This is made in November of 2020. Yeah, this ain't the Ice Queen. This ain't it. That's I did look at this particular thing, so no, it's not the creator I thought it was. See if I can pull the original. This one, Frozen in Fear by King Frost. See, that name sounds familiar. Who got banned apparently? Oh no! This is the Ice Queen. They came out before all of that. This is the initial one. You got the story and all of that. You got a very nice picture. And I guarantee, you know why he got banned? He probably got banned because this picture right here, he never listed a source on where he got this picture from, which probably got him banned. Yes, 3,000 posts. That's a shame. Unless he did something actually stupid. But, you know, whole thing here, a very nice picture to give you, you know, kind of the visualization of what she's going to look like. He does say, I do not own this image, but I found it to fit the idea of what she might look like. Should have put a source at the end of it, or Mandy Talks is going to clap you. But it's too late now. And then it has the hexa, or the perks and things like that. It's got power. It's got secondary power info. Got a survivor, lore, perks, etc., etc. And this is one of the first ones I did. I went through, I went over everything, comments, most of the things like that. And this is where it, for the most part, all started. And then he replies back. There was a slight misunderstanding, but it ended up being clarified when he told me how the actual perk worked. Which is where what started the that sentence that I always say, that I don't know what's going on in your particular head if you don't explain the particular perk or idea or how your killer's played. This is what started that sentence, by the way. I went over, did all of this. He then explained what he hoped to see. Very good concept. I did go ham on it, but still, very good concept. This is one of the positive ones that I have in my mind. It's a shame the creator got banned, but it's fan chapter Frozen in Fear. I did go ham on it back in the day, and I mean, this is just some of the things that I did. This is back when I was using the encoder and it was all staticky in the background too. But there you go. Lesson for you all. If you don't cite your sources, you are going to be clapped. Period. I won't use any Google images again in my life. It's like playing with the devil. It's for the devil. Why so many people are banned in DBD forum. I'm surprised they even ban people, honestly, unless they're being like open faced, like racist, or in doing anything that can affect the company. Like, this post is still here. And I say this every time, and I probably will till this post gets deleted or gets off the first list. This pretty peak pansy, which having a name like that, and then openly screaming that he's a pedophile out in the public, did something that you really don't want to do. People are going to end up getting banned about this. Change this. All you had to do was say Claudette outfit concept, J fashion. I don't even want to click on this because it's going to be like a Claudette in a diaper or some shit. It's just weird that I don't want anything to particularly do with. Literally, this guy is openly posting on DBD that he's a pedophile. And apparently wants to see Claudette in a diaper or some other young, sexy girl, like, outfit or something. Fucking some weird shit. That's not okay. In any fashion. I don't care if it's a cartoon girl or anything like that. You know, when you're growing up and you're, an adolescent, 13, 14, and you see, the 17-year-old in an outfit, it's different from being on a creation forum when people are talking about ideas to implement into the game and you're posting something like this. I don't care if this particular person is 15 years old trying to introduce fashion. It still makes him not right because he's trying to implement this particular children's style into the game that a lot of adults play. But still makes him a predator and a pedophile. It doesn't matter what age you are when it comes to pedophilia. And another thing is that particular word has to deal with super, super young, like prepubescent children. Really, really, really young children. Which still, even if he's like 15, makes him still pretty sus and pretty much a pedophile. You shouldn't be going after super young girls, even if you're 15. Not how that works. Literally like grade school levels things. Like, that's disgusting. Somebody needs to clap that post. I don't know what I'm saying. What? If you didn't know Galanonim, this particular word, yeah, define. Here, I'll show you why. In English, blah 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 blah. Don't care about any of that. There. Lolita. The character Lolita is a child who is sexually victimized in a book. No, that's not the example. Why are you not giving me the actual thing? The meaning of Lolita is a precociously seductive girl. No, that's not. There you go. Wikipedia gives you a closer thing. Lolita is a English term defining a young girl as precociously seductive. And by young girl, they mean prepubescent, as in kid. Not young girl as in like 17, 18-year old. No, that word specifically targets, which a lot of people that bring up this particular definition doesn't, like this, a pubescent girl who is sexually precocious or who is regarded in sexual terms by an older person. By an older person. Pedophile. There's one that's narrowed it down to what the actual word means. Now, people have tried to tear it apart, and people who are pedophiles try to tear it apart and just say something like this: a young girl that is seductive. And they try to make it sound like, oh, well, anything that's young, 20, 23, 18, 23, all of them are young, right? No. That word has to do with small, young girls. That's what that means. Small, young girls. Got nothing to do. And it's more importantly, the super young girls, like super, super young, like, 5, 6, 7, 8. It can expand to, 13, 14, and 15, but it's for the smaller, younger ones. And that's why I am not agreeing with that particular style. Urban Dictionary's kind of close. A young woman who is attracted to older men, technically, because they're trying to dress seductive and things like that, which makes them more sexually appealing to the older person. Jailbait is another word for that. And how older men find attractive. Said woman is often sexually appealing and precocious. She is a one young woman. Ain't exactly what that means, but they're trying to make it slang. Not supposed to be slang. Its base definition is disgusting, and anybody that tries to change the base definition kind of has a little problems. I gonna report this guy. That was disturbing. Yeah. I've already said my 2 cents and did all of that. It's kind of a W2F DBD. I don't care if it's slang or not. The original definition, the original description of the word is disgusting by nature. They need to get rid of that. And the thing about it is, there's a lot of places that use that term openly. And it's like, why? Why are we promoting breaking the law? You know? Why are we promoting the sexuality of young females that haven't even went all the way through puberty and all of that? You know what I'm saying? It's like they don't know any better. And if they're dressing that way, they've either been misled or their parents are absolute failures if they're walking around looking like sluts at that age. Or seductive, sorry, at that age. It's an issue. But I do have a background in psychology and things like that. So, you know, I guess I am particularly biased. Also, I am, for the most part, a law follower. I ain't gonna say that I follow all laws because anybody that says that's bullshitting. But I am, for the most part, a rule abider. But yeah, that's going to be that was disturbing. I read now forum rules, religion topics can be banned. Really? I wanted to post priest killer concept. What do you think? It will get me banned? Um, as long as the actual priest doesn't have any type of affiliations with any person. So just in case, I would say, names and all this other stuff, are purely fictional, etc., etc. Reported. Yeah. Because, I mean, they do have the plague, which sort of falls into that type of category. But, I mean, it's also, do at your own risk. Because when you go into religion, you're going into a very, very, very thin line. There you go. No surnames. You can't use surnames. I mean, it'd be fine to make, like, like if somebody wanted the Binding of Isaac to be put into Dead by Daylight. As long as you don't use more of the obvious religion related, things that can offend people, it really don't matter. But I was looking at a Amazon post today when I was ordering some things, and people were giving a gag gift. It was called dehydrated water that came in a can, and it was a funny gag gift that it says to give to adults and friends and things like that. On the description, it says you have an unlimited source of storage, just add water. And it was a very gag gift. And people were giving it 2 stars and 1 stars and all of that. And every single time I looked at it, people were giving it a bad review because it contained profanity and used the Lord's name in vain. And I was like, you're going to give a product a bad review because it used the Lord's name in vain. I was gonna buy this product, but it used the Lord's name in vain, so I gave it 2 stars or 1 star. Other than that, I would have gave it 5 stars. And I was like, what the hell is wrong with you people? It literally states on this particular product that it was made for gag gifts for parties, adults, etc., etc. And you were mad because it used the Lord's name in vain. I'm like, you are the type of people who should just immediately have their ability to comment and rate things clapped. You are flooding the market with bad reviews on a product that worked fine. Everybody said it's literally just a container that you can store things in. It's tightly sealed and all of that, and you don't have to worry about any type of air or anything getting in it. Very solid container. I mean, it's kind of pricey. It was like $15, but it's a very big container, airtight. You never have to worry about anything falling out of it. You can store water for a long, long time inside of it if you do want to take it camping or you want to store food or any other things. It's made for storage. It's a gag gift. And I was just like, How are you gonna give a gag gift a bad review because it has profanity on it and takes the Lord's name in vain? And it had quite a lot of reviews on it that all said the same thing. It has profanity, 2 stars, would be five. Product's great, but profanity's too much. And I just couldn't understand why you can't look at something because it gives you description, it shows pictures of the package and all of that. You couldn't just look at the box and then go down and look at the additional comments and the description and all of that that says that all of this exists. You just seen something, clicked on it, bought it, got it, and said, "Oh, this ain't what it is." You would hate going on Wish when half the things you get ain't what it is. I was just dying on the inside looking at it, and I was just like, "What are you talking about?" Let's see. I won't use any surname. The killer name will be Father Frederick. That name. Is that from Dark Souls? I recognize that name. No, not Dark Souls. What was his name? What was his name? What was his name? It's from something. Was it a war guy? Oh, Father Frederick, or the name Frederick with like that. Why does that sound so familiar to me? Now, the guy from Bloodborne's like Father Gascon. What do I know Frederick from? Father Frederick. I know it from somewhere. It's not a real life thing. It's from a game, and it sticks out to me, and I don't remember what game that I know that from. I can spoil one perk, and it will be silence that you saw from Fiddlestick Concept. Tried to make it a balanced perk. I will give a credit to the author. I don't know what your stand on religion, but I have to admit the God's concept is best human concept so far. So many fans. It's an Austrian name. I don't know if it was in a game or movie. I don't know. It just sounds familiar to me. And if I took the time to actually think about it, I probably could come up with a solution. It's definitely from a game, though. No, it wasn't from the suffering. I don't know. I'm not gonna worry about it. It's probably like Silent Hill or something crazy. Yeah, Father Gascon was from Bloodborne. I don't know. Regardless, I got decent concepts out today, and we're about an hour in. So I think I'm going to end the stream there. All of these I'm not going over, by the way, because they're just things brought up from the past, and I guarantee you that I've went over all of these. I know I've went over the voodoo doll. I know I've went over the smudge sticks, smoke bomb. I probably at one point in time went over. I don't particularly remember it, so it probably wasn't that strong to stick out. So I ain't gonna go over those again. Just went over walkie talkies. They can be better implemented than just ore reading. Ore reading survivor side's not very strong when you have perks that can do, well, perks and items that already can do that. And I hope they're not planning on implementing an item that just is based off of survivors or reading, unless it's part of the killer shtick and they force that into their game as their unique concept, or implement that into their game as their unique concept, not force. You can't force anything on anybody. They will rebel, whether aggressively or passive aggressively, or passively. There's always a rebellion. Even people that don't rebel on the outside rebel in some particular form, shape. Either way, that is going to be it for today's creation review. Not too shabby. I know I didn't go back in and say the things that they did good about things like that, but I am limited on time today because, well, I slept all day yesterday. So I am behind on work. So anybody concept that I went over today, I tried to give you a decent amount of time and give you a couple of ideas like that. I couldn't be, completely into there to get everything done, but I tried. Also, Lulu, did you update your concept? No, you just updated the title and then replied back to somebody. Again, this Springtrap killer concept I was planning on going over today. I mean, it's short. You know what? I've been putting it off for so long. I'll go over it real quick. We're only an hour in. I'm gonna go over the Springtrap concept and then I am out. I mean, it's already 2:50 my time. It's a little bit over what I wanted to do, but you know what? I owe it to you. I'll do it. Encore. Alright, Springtrap, killer concept, most faithful. Take a look. If you like what I came up with, let me know. Also, please comment any constructive ideas you'd use to improve this build. Dig in. I really hope he's in the cards for Dbd soon. Notice how he asked you to please comment any constructive ideas you'd use to improve this build. He's not asking for recognition. He's not asking for all the great job, keep it up type things. He's not asking for somebody to come in and just say, oh, this is wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong, and that's wrong. He's looking for constructive ideas. It's posted there in the top. Keep that in mind for when we get to the comments, and let's see how many people actually listen to what he wants and how many people are just kind of off the wall talking about BS. New killer, Springtrap. At this point, Springtrap is not a new killer, both in DBD and in FNAF. He makes so many goddamn appearances. Movement speed 110, interesting. Tear radius 24 meters. Height tall. Killer name's going to be the designer. Why not just call him Springtrap? It's going to be a contracted killer. Why not just say it is what it is? I mean, I know Dead by Daylight likes to give other names and things like that, but the designer, I guess it's Afton. He technically was the designer of everything. Still kind of. I don't know about that. Anyway, power is mechanized tomb. The designer starts the trial with 4 animatronics randomly spread around the map. Freddy, Chica, Bonnie, Freddy, Roxy, or Montgomery as options. We're throwing in Montgomery Gator, Roxy, Foxy, Bonnie, Chica, and Freddy. So I understand why Freddy, Chica, Bonnie, and Foxy are a thing, but you ain't gonna throw in like a special Golden Freddy or something in the basement or anything like that. I don't know why Roxy or Montgomery Gator are a thing either, but sure. Each time a generator is completed, the designer can install 1 charge into an animatronic. Um, Unless the animatronics do different things, you should just make it when the generator's powered, the particular electronics get zapped, or the animatronics get zapped and come to life. Or you can make it the reverse of that, to where all 4 stay alive, and as generators are being done, they get zapped, become inoperable. Either or. It's better to let things activate passively instead of having to walk around and charge an animatronic when you can have them just pop up on their own. You know, like actual FNAF. A generator charge will activate the animatronic with an AI operating like Nemesis zombies. So they're going to be slow and dumb and walk into generators and get stuck. And it will begin patrolling. It can only injure and not down a survivor. Do you not know what these animatronics are and what they do in the FNAF games? What do you mean it can only injure and not damage? It's gonna be eating people. It can only injure and not down a survivor, although it will alert the designer when it injures a survivor. Then you should probably use Helpy, the cupcake, and then the plushies and things like that, like the little Springtrap plushie that can run around. Things that actually in the game, you know, in like Balloon Boy. You should start using the smaller animatronics that can run around to do the alerts and not cause damage, as opposed to like a 7 foot tall freaking animatronic that's known for eating people and stuffing people inside of suits and things like that. So definitely turn that around and make it, you know, at least lore wise decent. Each animatronic can receive up to 5 charges, eventually taking it to a movement speed of 4.6 meters per second at the 5th charge. Also, I wouldn't have them patrol around like the Nemesis zombies. I would push for it to actually they function like actual animatronics. They are blind for the most part, but if they spot a particular survivor, they will move at full speed towards that particular survivor until line of sight is broken for X amount of time. Then they'll just patrol the particular area. Any scratch marks or anything like that are left behind, the animatronic could probably pick up on and follow at whatever base speed you want it to follow at. Then it sees a survivor and then it, you know, sprints. Limitations: survivors should, or animatronics should not be able to go within X amount of meters of exit gate, and they should not be able to cross the threshold of the exit gate. Because, I mean, they are robots at the end of the day, even though they are possessed by things. Well, children, but spirits by the end of the day. They still have that base functionality and programming that they can't change. But you're going to have limits to where they can't stand near hatch. They can't go near, exit gates. Generators, them going near them would be fine, but, you know, only if they actually spot a survivor. They shouldn't just randomly walk over to a generator and get stuck on it. Patrolling generators is fine, but they shouldn't be like a zombie and just get stuck on that shiz. Either way, continuing on. Soul charges. If a survivor dies on a hook, the entity will allow the designer to use their soul as an additional charge. You know how many times survivors have died on hooks? I don't think the soul option is a thing when it comes to the entity. The entity feeds on fear. If you take a survivor's soul, technically they're just dead. They won't be able to go back to the campfire. But anyway, any animatronic that receives a soul charge will have its AI upgraded to the training killer AI and be able to down survivors, but no longer alert the designer. I mean, what do you mean? If you down a survivor, you're gonna get a killer notification anyway, or a notification that the survivor's been dropped. Let's see. Soul charged animatronics will talk and therefore announce their presence to survivors more easily. The designer's vision will look like a computer HUD with the selector for where charges go on the side of his vision. That's going to be annoying. If you're going to do the vision box and all computer thing like that, you definitely need to make the option toggleable for every killer in the game. Because if they make one, they're probably going to make that vision screen a standard across the map for every killer. And they have to make the HUD toggleable for the vision or the overlay that they're going to put on your screen. But some people don't want to deal with that. And that would be the killer for them, using the actual spring trap. Sorry, I hit the mic. Cam vision. Designer can look through the eyes of an activated animatronic, forcing it to look around for 6 seconds on a cooldown of 30 seconds. During the 6 seconds, its programming is overridden. And if that particular animatronic zooms in and finds said survivor, I think it'd be more useful if you could control a particular animatronic for 6 seconds to find a particular survivor. Because there will be cases where the animatronic can like clearly see a survivor, but it won't actually pick up that a survivor's there, like zombies and things like that, that can clearly are in range of a particular zombie, but the zombie just don't go after them. They walk away and do some other craziness. So given the ability to assist the AI in movement in order to get to a survivor, I think would be interesting. And sort of help you fix stuck animatronics as well. Mexhec, I always come back. Everything I say, by the way, is a suggestion. I'm not trying to change the concept or anything like that. I'm just giving suggestions on things that they can change, giving them other options that they can follow, etc., etc. Concept, for the most part, except for a select few things, obviously, is fine as it is. I always come back. Yes, he does. At the start of a trial, this mech hex will be lit. From the time it is lit, it will be charged with 100% of all generator progress that has been made. When snuffed by the killer, the next kick will apply this anti-progress to a generator up to a maximum of 99% regression. The fire from this hex will appear purple. Um, don't try to come up with different hex totem things and change the color and doing all of that craziness. Don't do it. You're just giving behavior unnecessary programming and things like that. And if they don't plan on making any type of robotic killers or any other killers that use that particular mechanic, it's just going to be a dead mechanic that only works on one particular perk. So just make it a regular hex totem that at the beginning spawns. As gens are being completed, you know, bam, 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 whatever it stores, which is up to a maximum of 99%. Killer can activate said totem. I would make it an action, not just a snuffing. And bada bing, bada boom. The progression goes off of a generator. Or goes down from a generator. Obviously, as this is implemented, it's way too OP. Because essentially, as soon as they complete one particular generator, you can walk over and just completely can a second generator in the future, getting rid of its progress. Officially making survivors complete 6 generators instead of the usual 5. Well, approximately 6 because it's 99%, not 100. So obviously, anything that's going to extend gen progress an additional entire generator is going to be a little bit of an issue. That is why I would propose that you, if you want to use something this highly, one, make it a hex perk so survivors can deactivate it. And if a survivor deactivates it, obviously have it deactivate the perk and not have it trigger. And then 2, make it to where your killer has to do a specific action to activate this effect, besides snuffing it. Make it a reward for good play. You know, you have to hook the obsession, or you have to do this, or you have to do that, or something specific that you have to do to get this progress. Then from there, you can activate it like pop, essentially. So, like pop is a trigger. You hook survivor, and then you kick generator, you reduce. You hook obsession, you kick whatever generator, you reset. And this would be this perk. Then obviously you're going to have some sort of scaling. You don't want it to be 100% to 100%. Like if they complete a generator, you shouldn't be able to reset a generator, even if it is a one-time use type thing. It should definitely, the high end, be like 50%, if not 25%. Because I mean, if survivors complete 4 generators, and then you have the ability to activate this perk at 100% efficiency, if you decide to wait that long, that's kind of fair. Because if survivors do activate the 4th and 5th gens at the same time, then you get no value. So that's a counter to this particular perk if you decide to wait till the last second. And if you do activate it early, like on the 2nd gen, you're only going to have about 50% of this perk filled up and be able to knock a gen back 50%. So 50% is like the absolute maximum, and that's still kind of OP. I would make it 25%. So you have to at least play the game and still play, or still play the base game. And if you do happen to wait till the fourth generator's done, you can then go bop the fifth generator after, or if you hook the obsession anytime throughout it. Obviously, if you want it targetable, don't make it on kick. Make it, an activation of the particular perk. Then you have to kick something after you activate the particular perk, or have it do something different. Like you double kick a generator or something crazy. Also, you need to think very carefully about whether or not you want this perk to be stackable with Ruin. Because I think that's why this initially is on Snuff. Because they want it to stack with Ruin. They want Ruin to have its passive effects as they're running through, and then have a backup just in case something happens. So you better think real hard about the implementations of having it stack with Ruin. It's one of the reasons why I said on kick, it resets a generator so Ruin cannot stack with it. It would be a backup like Pop. It'd stack well with Pop, and if Ruin did get taken out, it gives you a backup that you can use to reset one generator back to nil if they do 4 generators, to give you a little extra time. Things like that. But this is going to take a lot of balancing, and then it's going to have to go to a PTB in order to get this perk to pop. Now, the way behaviors are doing things nowadays, they would probably leave it at 100% and leave it exactly how it is, because they are not on their game right now. They all got drunk and high, and now they're just releasing content. So, like I said, it's a suggestion, because I know behavior would do this completely different and end up screwing it up, like they've been doing things here very recently. Price token. If a survivor opens a chest and retrieves an item, the chest will reclose after 30 seconds. If searched again, it will award a survivor with a prize token and grant them the oblivious status effect until injured. This effect will occur 3 times per trial. Again, the oblivious status effect is thrown out and not used properly. 1. These are animatronics walking around. You know how loud they are. That dun 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 as they're moving around. They're going to be loud as crap. It's not going to matter whether or not they can hear your terror radius, because they're going to hear your footsteps. Heck, your footsteps might end up being your terror radius if they're implementing it correctly, because animatronics don't really have any kind of terror radius. And depending on what rendition you're playing, like if you're going off the original FNAFs, except for specific animatronics, there's no actual way to tell that they are looking at you unless you see them. But you can always hear them approaching for the most part. There are some exceptions. And no, I'm not going off the original FNAF and things like that where they teleport. I'm going off the more lore-friendly games that are actually, out and about where you move around and things like that. More like Security Breach wise, where they're running around and you can hear them talking and crying and doing all kinds of other things as they're moving around. Obviously, they can't talk till a survivor gets upgraded and only one, but you know what I mean? Walking around randomly and things like that, they're going to be making sounds as their actuators and things like that spin up. It's a very lackluster perk. It's kind of a meh perk, but it's implementing the oblivious status effect wrong. And this particular perk has no functionality. I would recommend if you're gonna make a meh perk, at least make it meh and don't just misuse a status effect. Try to go back in and redo this perk. Plus, why would I run this perk over the twins perk, you know? Prize token needs to be redone. Special delivery. When you hook a survivor and are 24 meters away from the hook, when they are rescued, you receive a token up to 3. For each token, receive 4% more blood points to all categories at the end of the trial. Explain to me why I would use this over Devour of Hope. When 3 tokens are acquired, the next pallet that would stun you that you walk into is instantly destroyed, consuming all tokens. Tokens can then be regained. Why would I ever use special delivery over Devour of Hope? Or Devour Hope? It makes no sense. 4% more blood tokens? Really? That's it? 4%? And I'm losing a perk slot for it? That's not very good. Plus, because they keep giving all of these items and things away, most people are, for the most part, maxed or over their blood points right now. And they give things away quite often. Like here, between January 14th and 21st, earn 1.5 time blood trials. Or blood points from trials. Things like that. They're always giving small things away blood point wise, so that's not something that you really need to stack up blood points, especially not at 4%. That's terrible. Devour Hope literally outclasses that. This perk gets clapped by that, and I would always run Devour Hope instead of special delivery. So you have 2 subpar perks that need to be reworked because they really don't do anything. Now, let's talk about usability. Usability, the designer, or Springtrap in this case, is just a basic mouse 1 killer. He has nothing that allows him to, and he's at 4.4 meters per second on top of that. But he has nothing to supplement him. He has no advanced moving to get across maps quicker. He has nothing to essentially assist him except for animatronics that walk around. 4 animatronics, by the way, that walk around like zombies. I think Nemesis's maximum is like 2, so it'd give you 4. Maybe it's 4. I don't know. Nemesis maximum zombies either 2 or 4. I want to say 2 off the top of my head, but it might be 4. 1 for each survivor. There was a 2 per survivor, and I'm misremembering things. I don't know. If I would have been able to continue my series when I got the Nemesis, I'd have all of that information, you know? But I had to cancel that series. Either way, the Springtrap's just a slower mouse 1 killer that has AI that may or may not, you know, it's a hit or a miss when it comes to zombie AI to be able to hamper survivors. So it's kind of sad because I mean they're obviously just going to reskin the zombies to animatronics and they're just going to send them out doing whatever they want to do. Very mouse 1 killer. So I mean in this particular aspect, why not just reskin Nemesis to Springtrap, reskin the zombies to the animatronics, add in the extra effect here, and then just give Springtrap some sort of ranged attack and just make it a reskin Nemesis. Because that's what we're pretty much shooting for here. Only difference is you can actually look through the zombie's eyes as opposed to... Well, heck, I mean, you could kind of just scrap this entire concept and just give Nemesis the ability to look through the zombie's eyes to see if they can find survivors. And you have the same thing. And granted, he wants to be able to upgrade his particular animatronics and all of that, but I mean, like, what's the point? They're still going to be stupid. They're just going to be stupid faster. So this whole post essentially says, hey, upgrade Nemesis. Make it to where I can see through the zombie's eyes so I can find out where survivors are. And then make it to where the zombies become smarter over time. And that's what you got here. In exchange for this, in Springtrap's perspective, is he's losing any type of ranged attack that he'd have in exchange for better AI. Not a very worthwhile trade, because Nemesis's range attack is where he gets most of his damage done on survivors because he can punish pallets and things like that. Springtrap, you're just a mouse one killer. That's it. That's the whole crux. So you need to add a lot more to this concept that makes it usable. Now, we're going back to the top where it says, please comment any constructive ideas. Also, name's underwear model, by the way. Constructive ideas. Let's see what we got here. I realized a small point I missed. The training killer AI animatronics do not hook survivors. Only Springtrap can hook survivors. You definitely should make it to where the AI can pick up and hook survivors, whether or not you have to control the AI, which I guess you would have to increase that to 18 seconds of control time that you can cancel at any time. Why 18? Because 17.5 is with Iron Grass, or 17.9 is with Iron Grasp. So 18 just makes it to where, you know, you get your full Iron Grasp, etc., etc. And as soon as you get stunned in that 0.1 seconds, you'll obviously be knocked back out of the animatronic. Another reason to allow you to pseudo take control of the particular animatronic and keeps it more towards lore, especially the newest game, Security Breach. It keeps it more towards that particular lore as well. Obviously, the animatronics in FNAF only have one function of stuffing things. So, you know, if it can't shove it inside of it and hold a survivor inside of it is like a hook, then have it to where they can just hook survivors. First comment, cool AF. Good constructive criticism. Thank you for telling us what you like about the concept, what's good about it, what's bad about it. Really love your ideas. I mean, that's a banger of a statement. Cool AF. Banger of a statement. Again, he's saying this based off of the fact that it's Springtrap. He ain't talking about the actual concept. When people are generally interested in something, they talk about what they like, etc., etc. Now, granted, it's different, most part, between girls and guys. Most guys will just get to the point, say what they need to say, and move on. Females tend to go into longer conversations, more vivid details, things like that. And no, I'm not being sexist and I'm not being bigot or anything like that. It's all backed by research and data. So you can look that up. Cool AF. Why even bother commenting, dude? Cool AF. Hit this vote up button. Don't waste your time commenting. It's a waste of space. Waste of data, waste of space. And somebody technically has to pay for this comment for being there. Pizza says that's an interesting take on it, and I like the idea of AI animatronics. However, I think it would be more fitting with Vanny, IMO. However, I still wouldn't see other animatronics in the game. I could see the other animatronics in the game, because I mean that's kind of what Five Nights at Freddy's is the security guard doing an objective while the animatronics come after him. That's kind of the whole thing. It's a cat and mouse game with the animatronics. Dead by Daylight's a cat and mouse game with a particular killer. Same thing, different objectives. I don't know why you would make it Vanny though. I mean, I could understand wanting Vanny to be put in and all of that, but as I said yesterday, Vanny is a showboater. She's like Glitch Trap and, all of that. She dances around, has fun, laughs, does all kinds of other things. She makes very slow movements. I mean, except when she gets that killing edge, then, she kind of legitimately, like, she's fast. She's very fast when she wants to kill you. But most of the time when she's not, she's just chilling. So I would see Vanny being a extremely fast killer, but you have to build up some sort of gauge, like an amusement gauge or something, before she knocks it into high gear and starts clapping people to kind of balance out that speed increase and that killing efficiency. Obviously, this guy's just talking off of an inherent bias of liking Vanny over Springtrap. I mean, it is what it is. But if you think Vanny should be put into the game, step up or shut up, man. Make your own concept with Vanny in it instead of posting that you, in your opinion, you would like to see Vanny instead. It's not constructive criticism. That's not what the original creator is asking for. Saying you don't want Springtrap, you want Vanny, just makes you sound like a spoiled brat. Go make your own concept with Vanny in it. We're being dumb. Give the man what he's asking for. This is not a chat forum. He asked for constructive criticism. He didn't ask for people to chat about it. He asked for a specific thing. Not very well met. He was even nice enough to vote up your comments because you were the only ones that commented, which is very nice of him. Well, thus far. Thus far. So it's very nice of him to go back in and vote up comments, things like that. But this dude's an idiot and doesn't understand. He has no reading comprehension. He has no intelligence. This guy just made a comment that he really shouldn't have bothered putting. He should have just clicked the vote up button because that's what cool AF is. It's just clicking the vote button. Send it. You have no grounds of saying whatever you're saying. Go make your own concept. And as he says, if I may, how would you implement Vanny? She's not an animatronic. They've also tended to get licenses from their beginning usually, already excluded. So I was picturing more of a suburban map with the pizzeria from the first game. Don't worry about map wise, because there's no way in hell all of the generators and all of that's gonna fit into a original FNAF map, unless you're gonna make the animatronics slow, including Springtrap, slow AF, extremely slow. The original map is not that big. Sorry to tell you that, brother. You got, let's see, you got the main entranceway, you got the kitchen, you got the stage room, you got the hallways, you got the power room, you have the side room that leads downstairs where all the stuff, suits, and everything else. And then you have the storage room. That's all you would have to use. Now, if you want to go into like exquisite detail and things like that, you can. Technically, well, no, because then you would have to have a stairway or an elevator multiple ways, like holes in the floor, things like that to get down, and then multiple ways to get back up if you wanted to include sister location or anything else like that as part of it. Or any of the other FNAFs, like the FNAF Pizza Simulator, etc., etc. But it would definitely have to incorporate multiple maps, and as we learned with Hawkins, multiple maps being incorporated or multiple themes of maps being incorporated apparently isn't Dead by Daylight shtick anymore. Even though I miss Hawkins and I understand that contracts expire and things don't always go the way, it's kind of a shame. That map was actually very well designed and interesting the first couple of times that you play it. The exit gates are completely opposite and there's doors in between them, so, you know, it makes it really hard for Killer to just straight up exit gate camp or do anything like that. They have to pick a way and stick to it. The generators are in fairly different places. I mean, there's still a select spawn location where you can find generators, but they are a little bit more difficult to find. And the map is a little bit difficult to remember if it's your first couple of times playing. It's got dual stairways. It's got a place to where you can jump down. It's got hooks, in decent areas, things like that. Um, all kinds of things. It can't really be exploited by boil over because there's a stairway right or a hook on the stairway, and you can jump down and there's a hook around the corner. So I mean, Hawkins, it's a shame that they put all of that time into making a map. I've made maps before, and I know how much of a pain they can be to implement and to have it be deactivated. And all of that happen is a shame. It might still be there, but I'm pretty sure it's been deactivated. I ain't played in a while, but um, sounds like a dream job. Tried to finish that fiddlestick concept while I was listening to you, but I can't find it. Do you remember by any chance when you posted it, found it? I was just gonna say, just search it and you could find it. What if we would take the map outside, certain parts recreated indoors, and some DBD made terrain outdoors? Yeah. I mean, the only thing outside is the parking lot, and then you have a little front area. If you go by the book, the books, you could probably create a fairly big map that incorporates it. You can incorporate the mall scene, you can incorporate the outside, you can have a access that leads to the main FNAF game and things like that, and you could probably open this up to make a fairly good suburban map. Which I guess it does say suburban map with a pizzeria, which I guess incorporates the pizzeria and everything that's around it. The pizzeria itself is going to be way, 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 way too small. If you're lucky, you might be able to get two generators inside of there, but I doubt it. It's gonna end up the pizzeria is gonna end up being like a main building, and then the area around it's probably gonna have to contain more generators. But yeah, there is a way to squeeze it in. You just have to use more than the pizzeria. Which, as he stated, it's going to be a suburban map with the pizzeria. So it's going to be more than that. So, you know. And then he says, I don't know how they'd implement her. I'm not a game designer. Then in this situation, Pizza, maybe you should just shut your mouth and not comment on somebody's work with a rude comment saying that you would rather have Banny than Springtrap. How's about that, buddy? Like I said, it's time to step up or shut up. You couldn't step up, so it's time to shut up, Mr. Pizza. And hopefully in the future, before you open that mouth of yours, you think about the amount of time and effort goes into making creations and not give this lazy excuse like that. Anyway, Springtrap, as always, everybody wants to see Springtrap. It's just the implementation of him. Behavior knows they only get one shot, and they know that FNAF is a very, very huge community. If I was Behavior, I would personally never incorporate Springtrap. FNAF has a huge fan base, arguably even bigger than Dead by Daylight's fan base. Because, I mean, they've made multiple games, they have multiple franchises, and they've sold a lot of copies. I don't know the comparison between the two, so I said arguably. But I would believe if somebody asked me, or I would state that FNAF has a bigger fan base. Not people playing the game and things like that, just a fan base in general. So if they fuck up implementing Springtrap, the backlash that they're going to get throughout their entire game is going to not be worth it in the end. That's going to be a very, very, very risky step. If they do it well, they will have a lot of people running through to play Springtrap and they will have a hell of a good time. Because that's what people generally want is they want a FNAF friend game where they can run around killing shit and incorporate other people, like actual multiplayer people, and they want to be an animatronic and they want to run around doing things. That's what people are looking for. If they do it good, you're fulfilling the FNAF community's wishes and incorporating it into Dead by Daylight. You're going to get a huge influx of people buying the DLC and watching the DLC, and the game's going to spike in popularity like ridiculously. But if you fail, then Dead by Daylight's going to be ostracized and known as that game that tried and failed. Not worth that LARP or that leap. It ain't worth it. Also, I know you already found it, but yeah, the Fiddlesticks things was a League of Legend concept. So you could have just searched capital L, lowercase o, capital L, and probably found it. But you found it. But I figured anybody else that wants to look at the Fiddlesticks thing that watches this or whatever can find it as well. Should just be able to type that in and find it. If not, I'll just type in League of Legends. Oh boy. Apparently, there was an LOL reaction button. Nope, I guess it ain't that easy. This one. Dead by Daylight X League of Legends. It's this post. You can see the things and things like that. Just type in League of Legends. It gives you the Dead by Daylight X League of Legends. This is one of the ones that I did. There's also a more recent one that I don't actually remember the name of. There is a more recent one, or this one was just brought back to the light. Nah, this isn't the correct post. I'm glad I clicked on that. There is a more recent one. Doo 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 boom 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 boom. Just type in Fiddlesticks. There you go. Fiddlesticks and Dbd. Fiddlesticks killer concept. So any one of these. This one's August 2020. This one's August 2021. This is the post right here. 100%. I remember this picture. There's another one too. And then you have this one that goes alongside of it. Oh, same picture, different concepts. I'll be damned. It's definitely the same picture, just wrong post. But you have this, and this going into there. There's perks, all of that, you know, the scythe, everything put in. This is a more complete. It's called Fiddlesticks Killer Concept, August of 2020. This is the complete one. This is what that other post was pulled from. There is a more recent one, but the recent one is a pull from this one. So if you do want the same thing, it's the same. It's the same post. This just looks better than the original. Also, I'm not seeing sources of these pictures. They're gonna mess around and get clapped. Just wanted to mention his creation when I will post my concept. Definitely. I will do it in special. Thanks, I think. It's gonna be an inside joke for a long time. I just can't believe you, Mandy Duck. Out of all the reasons to just straight up remove somebody's post and all of that and close it. You actually gonna throw something out and be like, you didn't cite your sources. You need to remove your post. Oh, you brought this post back up to light. I see. This ain't even the original one. I mean, it's another one, but it's not even the one I was talking about. It's kind of funny. Actually, I think, if I remember correctly, yeah, they show quite a lot of Ice Queens. Ice Queen Hag, Spirit, Ice Queen. Killer Concept, Ice Queen, and then there's more posts. But now it's done. I have went through, I have done everything that needs to be done for this forum. I am all caught up. Oh no, another ban. Oh man. Funny thing about it is, she came in, clapped some people, caused some drama, then left. Again, if you're going to clap people for something, you need to stay consistent, or you're just discriminating. Yeah, they might be breaking terms of service, but I mean, you technically are breaking, constitutional law and things like that. If that guy really got upset about it and decided he wanted to have any type of issues and all of that, behavior throwing out, well, it's against our terms of service, ain't gonna save you because you're looking towards prejudice and discrimination now. Like, why does my stuff get clapped when you have all of these other posts that didn't get clapped before? It's not fair to them. You're discriminating against individual creators and things like that. They can sue you. You might have money, but I mean, discrimination lawsuits, it don't matter how much money you have. All they have to do is prove that it's happening and they're going to win. They might not win a significant amount because you're not discriminating against their race, but you're still discriminating against them, so they can get you for a couple of grand. I mean, that's thousands of dollars in their pocket and their expenses covered. Lawyer and all of those expenses covered that you wouldn't have to spend if you just stayed consistent. That's what I try to warn people all the time. If you're going to get mad at one person for doing something, you need to stay consistent and get mad at everybody because people will sue you. Business owners. Keep that in mind. Either way, I appreciate you stopping by, Galanonim. I am going to get out of here. I am still pseudo tired, and I actually have other things that I need to get back to actually doing. So, thank you for stopping by. Anybody else that steps by? Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day, night, afternoon. And as always, supplement your lifestyle, and I'll see you next time.